Welcome to the Mystical Motherhood podcast. This is Chelsea, and I want you to create a happy family. I use my background in Western and Eastern medicine, birth, and ancient yogic practices to help the modern mother learn how to live a healthier life and create conscious children. This is your guide to fertility, conception, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and the early childhood years. Are you ready to live the life of your dreams? This is episode number 27 of Mystical Motherhood's podcast. Kateryna is back with us this week, and she had some surprising news from her husband, who came to her and said he was not really on the same page about having a child, and they've been trying for over a year, about a year now, and he may not even want to stay in the marriage, which is really important to talk about before you have a baby. So Kateryna and I went deeply into differing her emotions from the mind and what she's feeling in her heart. We also talked about how when you change so much and you begin to awaken, all the people and places in your environment will also change. I hope you enjoy. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, write into mysticalmotherhood.com with any questions, and I look forward to seeing you back weekly. Enjoy. How are you doing?
I'm still okay, but I feel like my whole, everything is just upside down crazy.
I just feel, I see you when they show me. It's like your life has become a huge picture screen, and you're looking at like almost like a blueprint of these two different directions you could go, or directions. And then there's a level of full overwhelm, like a gigantic wave is hitting you.
Yeah.
Some levels. So tell me about that.
Well, I don't know. Like my husband, I swear, he's just like, I don't know what he's going through, but he's like all of a sudden having a huge panic, fear attack. And literally yesterday he went to Florida to meet his friends. And he's been odd the past week anyways, but he went to lunch yesterday and he's just literally broke down in tears. He's like, I don't know if I'm the right man that could be settled down forever. I don't know if I'm the married man that you need. I need to know if this is the right path that we need to go down on. And I'm what? I don't, I'm I don't even, and he's like, before we make another decision, I need to make sure that I'm not, committing to something. So the big thing he kept saying is commitment and settlement. It's he's fear is bursting out of him and anxiety.
Okay.
And I'm
well, let's just thank the Lord you're not pregnant right now.
Yeah.
Okay, because everything happens for a crazy reason.
I know.
And it's too odd.
Yeah.
Just a moment of recognition of, that everything is we said is happens for a specific reason.
Yeah, I know.
And I never thought my life would be the way it is ever. And it's because things, so what was we're not going to get into that, but I want to go into your reaction and what you're feeling, because we know what he's feeling for a moment, right? And we can get into that, we can look into that, but that's what the two directions are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my feeling was obviously it's upsetting, of course, but I was very calm with it. Do you know what I mean? I was, I was I told him, I was Josh, I'm here for you. And I've been here for 10 years. I've supported you. I was I can manage you, because he's a little constantly wants to go. I was I can manage you. I can manage all this, but if you're not happy yourself, I can't be responsible for you. Like, I'm not going to ever change that if you can't change that yourself.
Well, just a reflection back to you.
Yeah.
From my own relationship with my ex-husband is you get to a point where you do so much growth. I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is my opinion of what sometimes happens. And I've talked to you about before is like at least with my spirit, this is only with the spirituality I'll speak about, but you know, I got very, very into my own spirituality and my own inner growth. And everyone's growth is going to be completely different. And so when you start to grow at a pace that is unlike other people, right? Your frequency will change. And either, we've talked about this before, either you're going to repel or people are either going to be repelled by your new frequency, which is calm and understanding and moving forward in life. It seems normal to you. And it seems really like, why isn't everybody else doing this? Like, I get it, right? But to other people, either they can meet you there or they won't.
Exactly.
And so go into your heart right now. So a lot of this information, they want to make it really clear to you. The mind can create all of these, stories and ideas of what it looks like and what it is, but what it's like a drop into your heart, which is what I've told you, connecting to heaven, then connecting to earth. And then you go into the sacred region of your heart, which is actually the region that Jesus always talked about, which is the only region in our body that can reach infinity, and all the answers can be created from this place of the sacred heart. When you're in that, I mean, it's going to be hard to jump into it at this moment, but like through this process, as these changes happen for you, it's like going to there is going to give you more of a perspective, which is just going to give you balance and being in the mind of like, why is he doing this? Why is this happening? It just it does happen.
Right.
So when you think at going from the heart to the mind back during this conversation, when you think about why he said these things and what you feel in your heart, like what is your reflection on that? Do you think he meant it? Do you think it's something you should be concerned about? Do you think it's something you actually may want to?
I think I think he is so scared of I think he's so scared of just I think life once again. This happened with him before and we broke up. And this was we were in our 20s, but he is looking at his life again. Mm-hmm. And he's thinking oh my God, if I have a child, that's it. I'm pretty much stuck here, stuck in what I want to, what I can do, what I can't do. And then all of a sudden this, I don't I've never he's not been the one to ever tell them what to do. You know what I mean? But I don't know, right now, it just triggered him that he is there's a lot of fear. I think he means some of the things. I think he does, because he's just one part of him, he's split. He's one part of him, obviously loves the life we have and what we do. But the other part of him, his brain is we need to keep moving.
But it's not, when I read your energy with the two of you, it appears that he's keeping moving, but in reality, you're way ahead of him. And what the energy is, if you want to close your eyes and think about it, it's if you're two people are on a move, things not a train, but a constant movement. It's you will go 3 jumps ahead, and then you have to lasso him. And and you have to lasso his energy to even try to get him up to your point, and you just don't get him there. And so does that feel true when we say that? It's you're constantly looking back over your shoulder, when are you going to make it here? When are you going to make it to where I am? When are we going to be on the same, wavelength of...
So you kept saying that too.
he doesn't feel it.
Yeah.
And that's the energy I read when I read the two of you. I don't even need to know his name. I can read him just by your speaking. But it's like, and that's how you've always been.
Yeah.
And I just want you to think, because sometimes the universe gives us opportunities, and you don't have to think. I mean, you can go either way with this, but to look at, can I do this my whole life?
Right.
Because there are things in my relationship that I thought I could do my whole life, and I can't.
Yeah.
And all of us are going to say that, and it's like you need to make a list. It's not even, the mind is going to want to do this, but it's not like a pros and cons list is for the mind. But for the heart, what does the heart say? And the heart will say, the heart isn't necessarily going to be logical. The heart's going to say, what do I want? Like, what do you really want? Do you really want a baby? Do you really want, do you want, a lot of times for the heart, you have to give up security.
Right.
You have to give up matrix. And so a lot of the times we think that relationships, you have to be in a relationship because, then I got my friends, and then I'll lose my friends, and they're all my couples. And then what are we going to do on the weekends? Like, how am I going to go hiking? And then, what about, I'm not going to find anybody, because if I give up a roll of the dice of a 2, I'll get the 2 again or something. Somebody said that to me, but it was really good. Like, you never know what the next dice will be. Right. All these things that the mind will create of what is the right choice. But what does the heart say? The heart will just move so quick. The heart says, go. And so with this, you need to recognize the difference between the thoughts of the mind and what your heart says.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
heart says, for me, I want a baby and I want a family. And I'm done waiting.
And why?
And I'm done waiting.
Yeah.
It's like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I've been lassoing you for how many years? I mean, you probably didn't think I'd say this to you in this way, but it's something to think about. But you have to realize that this pattern with him, which they're saying is ancient, meaning it's not from this lifetime only, it's not going to be something that goes away.
No, and I
either have to fully accept it, or you're going to get to another point in life where he's going to be like, I don't want to go travel the world. You're like, well, I really want to go travel the world now. And he'll be like, no, I wanted to just retire now, or I don't want to move. And you'll be like, well, I want to move now. I feel like we need to move. And he'll be like, no, I don't want to.
Right. Yeah. No. And I completely know, like, this isn't something that's going to go away. And
so let's list the bigger things about it, which are very worrisome for you. And then compare them to which are the mind thoughts. And then let's try to separate the mind from the heart.
Right.
So tell me what your mind is feeling and the worries that come up. So just to release them, and let's put them in the glass jar in front of us.
Well, obviously the mind and the worries are just like the things you listed, like, okay, like my age, like where we are, like we have 2 houses now, like, how am I going to find somebody else? How could I even move on? Like, how can I do it on my own? Like, like, will I ever meet anybody else? Like, where will I go in like the transition mode? Like, what will I do? How am I going to deal with everything? It's also like anger too. It's like, well, it's kind of like, fuck you, like, of course, like, it's just like, it's like, all right, well, it just came out of like nowhere in a sense. And I've given my loyalty for 10 years, and like, this is what I'm getting. Like, when I'm finally like, we've been through this journey for a year now, and it's like, it's a little like stab in the heart,
Yeah.
Or something that like, it's like, really? It's like, I'm like so close, and it's just like, it's like, why?
And how long have you been married to him? Actually married?
It will be 3 months in October. I mean, 3 years. 3 years. in October.
Okay. So put all of those worries and all of these memories, like even the good memories of just, I want you to just clear the slate so you can get into your heart. It's all the pouring of the memories, the wedding, like you can tap your eye 3 times, the wedding memories, the people that your friends, all like the laughter, but also all of this challenge of trying to have this baby.
Yeah.
And remember what we've been working on before is like the man and the woman need to be completely really aligned in these days in order to have a child. And this alignment maybe we're figuring out is likely from him.
Yeah.
And so just that pain, put it all in that jar and then burn it. And let me know when it's burned.
Okay.
And just anything from your heart to pour out. You can I feel like you need to go, you can do it now or later, but you need to grab a effing pillow, they're saying, and just scream. Scream into it. Like, it's almost like F you. Like, I've been doing so much for you. That's what they want. Like, they're saying to me is like, I have done so much for you. I've laid down my life for you. You mother him. You cook his dinners. You do his insurance. You make the house perfect. You do the things. And what does he do? He comes home and says that.
Yeah.
Right? But a little reflection for you. What if you had children and he did this?
I know.
Because I can tell you it's a little trickier when you have children.
Right.
And so in your intuitive heart, do you feel after him saying these things, would it feel safe for you to move on in the relationship and continue to try to have children? Would that be an option at this moment? Would you truly feel safe with this man, knowing that you'd get pregnant? And like, it's okay to say yes, but you have to just sort of look into your heart right now. So just take 3 deep breaths into your womb and into your heart. It's the first answer that comes. If you stay with him, will you feel safe, like you can start a family?
A part of me says yes.
Okay. What is the part that says no? How much percentage is that?
I feel like the yes outweighs the no, but there's also, it's just, it's the, I think what the main thing is, like, right now, like, I give all my energy, obviously, to him. Like, we don't have any kids, but like, when that changes, all my energy is going to shift. And the concentration of one person is going to shift off to another person.
Yes.
And I feel like it's going to be like, it's kind of like not a battle, but like, like kind of like a childish tantrum.
I see him turning his back on you. It's like he kind of does it like he doesn't know how to handle it, so he sort of walks away. Which a lot of men do this.
Yeah.
It's too many men. And it's really painful. I mean, that's what I see at the moment. It doesn't mean that will happen if you don't work on it.
Right.
It doesn't mean that that's the trajectory of, in this time frame and this time zone where you guys are. From where it's like, Yogi Bhajan even teaches this. And after 18 months, because you can be with the baby, I think it's about 18 months. And then after 18 months, if you don't go back making love to your husband and giving him full attention, the whole balance of the family gets off. Right. I mean, a lot of women don't do that. I mean, a lot of women, are breastfeeding and then the child is constantly there and then they don't have sex with the husband because they're not interested in the husband anymore. They're only interested in the child. And then it becomes it becomes a whole new family paradigm, which is unhealthy for everybody, even the children.
Right.
But that you're not even there yet. But I kind of see him from what his personality is showing is like, well, this is kind of your responsibility. I don't know what I would do. Does that feel true? Like in the beginning or no?
Yeah. I think you feel like unattached, like not like connected.
Yeah. Not connected.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's normal. I mean, a lot of, just so you know, I mean, around 2 years to 3 years is when the man actually gets connected to the kids, because then they can talk and move and they're not with the mother. So there is a normalcy around that, but it is also nice to have help. I haven't experienced the help before, but I've seen people who have.
Right.
And
it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Well, let me go in, because we've just been talking. Let me go in and see. I want you to go into your heart and then see what you guys would need to do to work it out and what you actually see him doing. And then I'm going to just go in for just a minute. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So what they're saying is you're now frozen. So what he's done is he's transferred his inability to move forward, really, because he moves forward. So it's like he moves forward too fast and then he doesn't move forward because he's been skipping steps his whole life, right? Mm-hmm. Like his energy moves, like he wants to get on the high horse and move through life, right? Yeah. And then he goes so quickly, he freezes like he's doing. And so then it shocks you into being frozen. So that's the only way he can actually keep you back to the level he's at. So what, energetically, it looks like what he does is that you're always ahead of him. And so he probably wasn't ever ready for this baby. And so ever, this whole time, not once.
No.
But there's a huge level of frustration for that. It's like, how long do we have to wait for you to be ready for a child when we signed up for this together? Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so you've been lassoing him to come. And right now he's finally telling you, I've never been ready. How does that feel when we say that to you? That he's not been ready the whole time, not even just in this moment, but the whole time.
Yeah. It's
accurate.
Yeah.
And shocking, right?
Yeah.
And frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it's a reflection of the relationship, where it is, and also the future. And just let that sink in for a minute. Close your eyes and feel that. Is this like how long, which you can continue a relationship like that. There's all kinds of relationships that are off. And right. like you're saying, who knows what the next one would bring, and you have to look at the pros and cons of it. But what he did in that conversation is he shocked you into freezing like him. He did the scariest thing he could possibly do, which is saying, I don't know if I can move forward, just to let you know how much he's not ready for this. The trajectory of fixing something like this would take up to 6 months. And so that's what I feel and I see. For you to emotionally repair and trust, because otherwise you'd like be directly moving into like something like IVF, to say like, let's just freaking do this, like, let's just do this. I'm done. It's like, you're getting to the point you're feeling, I'm done. I really want to have a baby.
Yeah.
I want a baby. Let's just do IVF or whatever. Remember, like the 3-month plan. So we now know that you can't just jump into IVF right now. And in order to fix this, to even get him to where you're going so he's not shaking, would take about 6 months, and he's still going to be behind you. That's what I see at the moment.
Yeah.
They said, yes, that's accurate. So I want you to go into your relationship and into your past right now. So close your eyes. And I want you to go to all the times in your life where you've been ahead of everyone.
Okay.
And then I want you to tell me any visions that come through for that. Meaning, like, it could even be a memory of, like, I got the test and I was, everybody else failed and I didn't, or I always knew what I wanted to do and I didn't really know anybody else who did.
So the first one that came up was more like high school time frame, not specific like age. But I was always like ahead. I was always a year older. So not even that, but like I was just always different. Like I always moved differently. I always like, just like I didn't really follow everyone else. I kind of always wanted to be in my own path. So, that was kind of like, it was kind of like a insecurity and like attack for some people against me, because I was always like, I don't think they understood how I could easily just let it keep moving.
Yeah. Like intuition, moving through intuition.
The second one is when I moved to New York on my own. Actually, after we broke up, and I lived there for about 2 years and working and like, and I was about 25 at that point. And, out of all my friends, like no one ever even crossed their mind to even do that, and I did it so like effortlessly on my own. And I see it now with like work, like right now with the job that I'm in, because it's a fucking hard job. It's not easy at all. But since I don't like let it get to me, like it moves a lot more differently and quickly. And like where, some people will be like, you come in, they're like, people already start targeting you. They're like, you're not going to make it. You won't survive. You won't be this. And it's like, now it's kind of like, it's like, how everybody's a little like, like two-faced fake, but like same thing, trying to figure it out. So I've always like, those are the three just that came up, but I've always felt like that different, like I was, way different from everybody else, but also on a different level from anybody else.
Well, you trust your intuition and you move like if the crowd of the sheeps are moving in one direction, you can move to the left easily and be like, look at the outside picture of all of these things.
Right.
And your husband cannot do that.
No.
At all. So just in a moment, just take a moment and I want you to look at the pace you're moving in your own spirituality and your own awakening and acknowledge almost the differences between the two of you and where you've come. Does that make sense? First off, like I want you to look at, so like when you came together as a couple.
Yeah.
So now we know that there's been these changes, but when you came together as a couple, who were you then? And who are you now? And this isn't going to be coming out in this session. This is going to come out over the next week.
Yeah.
And you really need to look at this because what he's doing, and the universe is offering you an opportunity to get out if you want to. If you want to, and just to look at it differently, not to get out, but like we don't want to look at like relationship separations or conscious separations. It may not, I don't even know what's going to happen. I haven't even looked into it. Right. But I want you to look at everything that the universe offers you that allows you to move forward, like the New York experience when you left for 2 years and how it changed your life. And how we look at these things as like most of culture will look at the doing off the pace, like doing what the world would be like, you're crazy. You have everything. Why would you leave?
Right. Exactly.
But they don't know what it's like on the inside. They don't know like what you could possibly intuitively feel that you see for the future. And so with all of this, you need to take almost like he's offering you, and it's not even him. You have to also look at everybody in your life as a play, like a player that comes as God. Anyone who speaks to me, I was like, who are you? Oh, what part of God are you? Like everybody who talks to me, I'm like, there's God. What are they saying? What's God saying?
Right.
And you have to look at it like that, not as like he's doing something wrong to me. He's hurting me. It's against my ego. Because when we look at what, your partner did this week, your ego could easily say, well, how could you do that to me? And this, da, 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 da. No, God would say, let me get into my heart. And is this an opportunity I actually need to look at? Is this a reflection I need to have? Have I had this recently? What has been going? I've been moving fast over the last year wanting this baby, and he doesn't necessarily want that. He might not ever want it. I mean, do you think he even wants it?
I don't know.
Is this all? I mean, I'm giving you a reflection that's probably different than what most people would. Most people would say to you, you can work it out. Da, 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 da.
No. Right. Of course. And
but you're always going to take that alternative path. And I wanted you to reflect.
Makes a lot of sense.
And so all of these alternative paths I knew that you did this throughout your life. And so I wanted you to really think about all these times you haven't taken it. And that's why they gave me the Robert Frost poem right before we started. They said, there's two paths that merged in the woods. And I took the one less trodden by or something. Right. And that has made all the difference. So when I started this reading with you, they gave me that poem and they gave me the two paths. And so rather than looking at, it's almost like take some time and look at this as a reflection of who you were when you first met him and who you are now.
I mean, completely different.
You're completely different. And I'm going to tell you, if you were to have children and your awakening is going to continue. It is. And so his is not.
Right.
His hasn't started. And so the universe sometimes provides us with an opportunity that we can either move in fear or we can move in the heart. So fear will live in the mind and the heart will say, I move with love.
Right.
I move because I see I'm not fearful. All the statues in Egypt, every single one of them, they have the right foot forward. I think it's the right foot. Watch it be the left foot. Doesn't matter. One of the feet are forward. And it's because the guys kept saying, move with your heart, move with your heart, move with your heart. So this week, reflect on it right now. Tell me the differences between, who you were when you first met, which is different. You were partying, you're going with friends, you're going boating. I'm going to reflect my own relationship. Partying, going boating, out of college, free, working, and then things, you just diverge and you become a different person. And so we have this thing in our society that we have to be with the same person forever because that's what society says is supposed to be right. But the age of Aquarius, you might not even have to be with anybody.
Right.
I mean, you might want to, but you also might want to be in a conscious relationship with a man who's also growing, which is possible.
Right. I'm just like, I just, it's funny because like, you're right. Like society's like, says it this way. And it's just like, I never thought like I would be in this situation right now.
Yeah. You thought you would be having a baby right now.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't feel differently. If you were pregnant, he'd still feel this. How does that make you feel when I say that?
It makes complete sense.
Right.
I just don't know, it's in his, it's like in his gut and his heart. So I don't know, what, I don't know. I don't know if he, don't understand, what, the settlement part,
What were the words he used?
Settlement.
He doesn't want to settle down. Is that the word you mean?
He's afraid of just settlement, commitment. He is, he wants to be conscious of both of our lives and feelings and, do something now instead of keep moving. And then he said, what if I have a kid and then down the road, I just want to leave.
Yeah. So these are really, really important things for you to think about.
I know.
Not even think about, to feel into without fear, and almost a sense of love for him for being so honest with you.
Yes, he's very, yeah.
And to like, you need to be able to look at him as like, why did you choose him? Well, he's probably your best friend.
Yeah.
Right?
He kept saying that. Like, he's like,
I'm your best friend, right? He kept saying, that's what they're saying to me. I'm your best friend. I'm your best friend, which just means that's what he is.
right.
And so right now you don't want a best friend anymore.
Well, no, right.
You want a husband and you want a father.
Yeah.
And so I'm just reflecting back him.
Yeah.
And it's okay to want these things.
Right.
And it's okay to be scared that you won't find it. But guess what? If you had children, it's a lot scarier to find a father.
Yeah.
You know, when you, how, I mean, if you add more to the table when he's saying these things now, so you may move forward with all of this, but this is giving you an opportunity. Look at it as an opportunity for reflection of, they want you to look at specifically the differences between who you were when you were together, because you're creating, well, we did this whole life and we had this whole plan and da 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 da, but that's, you've been, sometimes people meet at a young age and then it's like, you're destined to marry to learn those things together. And then you get to the point where you created who you're supposed to be to that point, and then you diverged in order to learn more.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 100%. The person I was back then to the person that I am now to the person that I was like 3 years ago, completely changed because I was more like dependent, on him. And he said this, he's like, you're very independent. That's what he said to me. He's like, and you're great at that. It's like, you just don't let a lot of like stuff bother you or anything. And you can be on your own and be happy with it, But I was like, so I think a lot of that also like makes him like feel insecure. That like I can be okay and content, to be by myself sometimes. Like I don't think
he needs the movement.
Because I don't think he understands it, because he's constantly has to like, he's like, I can't turn my brain off. There's not like, I don't know what else I can, do.
And he's also saying in that, I'm not willing to try.
Yeah.
And so a lot, we can try to hope that partners will change or move at our pace or slow down or want kids or do it the way we want. I mean, but in reality, it's not going to happen. People are who they are. And so you're making a lot of changes, but they're not in his direction.
No.
They're in a different direction. And sometimes the more and more we awaken, the more different directions and like reality will reform itself for us to be with the people we're more aligned with.
Yeah. It's just another curveball.
Or a blessing, they're saying.
Or a blessing, right?
I hope you enjoyed this episode with Kateryna today. You can find out more about Mystical Motherhood at www.mysticalmotherhood.com. You can purchase the book Mystical Motherhood on Amazon. It's a guidebook to help you through conscious conception, fertility, pregnancy, birth, and into early childhood. And there's a lot more information on the website. If you like this, please subscribe, write in with any questions, tell your friends, leave a review. I look forward to you returning next week. Thanks.